Well, we are heading down to the final few weeks of the 2019 NFL season. It's now time for my Week 11 picks. Hard to believe we're down to our 7 weeks already, as we already passed the halfway mark for all the teams. And last week, 5-8. Oh my God! I just went 14-1 2 weeks ago, and now fucking 5-8. I think this is actually my third worst week ever when it comes to making picks. I went 5-9 one time. My worst week was 4-10. God, like so many close games just didn't go my way. I think by and large, that's how it always is. Pretty much, always got to be those like 3-pointers, 4-pointers, or something crazy close like that. Always got to be within close. That they just can't get them right. Oh man, that sucks. Probably like all the gains I had from the first week where I went 14-1, now all gone probably after this. And here is the updated playoff stands at the season end of today. In the AFC, it's the Patriots and Ravens with the byes, with the Steelers now at the Texans and the Bills at the Chiefs. And in the NFC, it's the 49ers and Packers with the byes, with the Vikings at the Saints and the Seahawks at the Cowboys. So, let's now get into my Week 11 picks. So, we start off with Thursday night, as it's a kind of a big one in the AFC North. Whoever wins this will have the second seed in that division, as it's the Steelers at the Browns. As the Browns try and beat the Steelers for the first time since 2014. They've lost every game against them except that tie last year when they hosted them. As the Steelers, wow. That, like I said earlier in the year, it doesn't matter. No Le'Veon Bell, no Antonio Brown, hell, no even Big Ben. But guess what? Despite being beaten, the Steelers are going to find some way to be around 500. And now, if the season ended today, they've won 4 in a row, and they would be in the playoffs. Talk about a difference 4 weeks makes, as they beat the NFC champion Rams last week in a defensive struggle. That defense has really been good these last bunch of weeks. Meanwhile, the Browns finally ended their 4-game losing streak, beating the Bills last week, but still didn't look quite pretty. And seeing how they played these last few weeks, I'm actually going to pick the Steelers for this one, as I'm not trusting the Browns whatsoever, especially since that's against that Steelers defense. But who knows? Maybe the Browns actually could show up for once and actually win this and get back within playoff contention. And then we get to our 1 p.m. games on Sunday. Starting off with the Jets at the Redskins for the first time since 2011, as the Redskins try and beat the Jets for the first time since 2003. That's how long it's been. As the Jets beat the Giants in their home game, as we had our inter-city matchup. Quite impressive performance, although they almost choked it right there. They got really lucky in that regard, as the Redskins, I think, were on their bye last week, as Dwayne Haskins is starting, as they have the second, the Redskins have the second worst record in the league right now. Yikes. That's definitely not going well for them, as they've now lost 3 in a row, I believe it was. This will actually be kind of interesting. It's just the matter of, honestly, it's going to probably matter on the quarterbacks. Who's going to actually show up, Sam Darnold or Dwayne Haskins? Darnold's had some moments. Haskins has not had any moments whatsoever this year. He's looked really, really bad. So, I'm actually going to pick the Jets for this one, but I won't be surprised if the Redskins get it either. And then it's the Saints at the Buccaneers, as the Saints, jeez, what happened? Not only did you lose to the Falcons at home, you got absolutely destroyed by them. That is like one of the biggest upsets of the year so far. Unbelievable. And the Buccaneers actually beat the Cardinals, as Bruce Arians got the revenge on them, even though Jameis Winston almost choked it right here. Now, of course, the Saints, maybe you will take the Buccaneers more seriously after you got humbled so badly by the Falcons, but don't underestimate the Buccaneers. You beat them last year, but these last few, like 4 or 5 years, have been really close. Remember, last year you barely beat them. They were up like 14-3 at one point to like the fourth quarter when you finally exploded and took the win, and they beat you the year before. Matter of fact, they actually beat you the last like 2 years beforehand as well. So don't underestimate the Buccaneers. And I'm actually probably in an upset. I'm gonna pick the Buccaneers for this game. But of course, since the Saints got their asses kicked by the Falcons last week, I'm sure that's going to get that loss out of their system and actually get the win. So who knows what happened, but I'm picking the Buccaneers. And then it's the Broncos at the Vikings for the first time since 2011, as the Broncos were on their bye, I believe, and they beat the Browns last time out, as their backup's now playing as Flacco is done for the year. That was a quite good performance they had against the Browns. After that 0-4 start, they've gone 3-2. That's pretty good. They need that, because they're definitely way back in that quite competitive AFC West. Meanwhile, the Vikings got that very impressive victory against the Cowboys last Sunday night. They are really starting to set themselves up as at least a wild card team if they don't choke it this year. But they still got to try and get that NFC North title. This Vikings, do not underestimate the Broncos, and we know you Vikings do like to underestimate teams a lot. Although I think, yeah, all of your losses have been on the road this year, so maybe, hopefully, you won't choke it, and I'm picking the Vikings for this, but don't underestimate the Broncos. Do not underestimate them. And then it's the Bills at the Dolphins, as the Bills lost in a close game to the Browns. I guess I shouldn't be too surprised, because I kind of was thinking that maybe the Browns would show up, but I just didn't fully trust them against the Bills' defense. And the Dolphins, wow! So much for tanking. Now they've won 2 in a row against, I think it was 2. Oh, no. The Colts were a playoff team last year, but not the Jets. But yeah, the Dolphins now 2 in a row and are playing a lot better right now. Although, you honestly should not be winning all these games because you're blowing your opportunity to get that number 1 overall pick. I mean, God, you would have like, what, the 3rd, 4th overall pick right now? And it's not looking good in that regard. You need to lose out and get that number 1 overall pick badly. But unfortunately, knowing the Dolphins and how the Bills are playing, I'm picking the Dolphins for this one. Especially since they almost beat the Bills up in Buffalo a few weeks ago. And I think they did beat the Bills when they hosted them last time. So yeah, the Dolphins have played pretty good against the Bills these last few years. So don't underestimate them, Bills. And I'm picking the Dolphins for this. And then we get to a big AFC South matchup as the Jaguars are at the Colts, as the Jaguars are off their bye after they got their asses destroyed by the Texans in London. And of course, Nick Foles is making his first start since week 1. I'm not so sure about that. They probably should have stuck with Minshew since the Jaguars are doing pretty good with him. But hey, at least for Foles, he had that 1 touchdown when he was playing before he got injured. He had like that saving grace on him. So we'll see how he does with how the Jaguars will do with him back. Meanwhile, the Colts, oh my God, they've lost 2 in a row against the Dolphins too. Thank God for them. Jacoby Brissett's going to be back. Now, of course, the Colts should not underestimate the Jaguars, especially since who knows how they're going to play with Foles in. But I'm still going to pick the Colts for this, but I will not be surprised if the Jaguars pull off an upset. Wow, how about that? We could have the AFC South where the last place team could be 5-5 possibly. Incredible. And then it's the Cowboys at the Lions for the first time since 2013, as the Cowboys, yikes, 3-0. Now they've gone 2-4 as they lost the close one to the Vikings. At least they played hard, but wasn't enough. And the Lions, yikes. Now they've lost 2 in a row, and Matthew Stafford is out, because I didn't know that actually at first. And for all of you who didn't know, I actually did change my pick to the Bears when I found out Matthew Stafford was not playing. It's a good thing I did that, because yikes, I would have been 4-9. That would have been disastrous. As the Lions, of course, lost to the Bears, although it was still kind of close. Although, they definitely need Stafford for this, and I think Stafford is actually going to be out still for the next bunch of weeks, so I'm pretty sure he's not going to be playing for this one. And with that in mind, the Lions have really nothing going for them in this regard unless the Cowboys decide to choke. But I'm going to pick the Cowboys for this. And then it's the Falcons at the Panthers, as the Falcons got that stunning upset victory over the Saints. Incredible. Maybe they can get another upset in the works on them. Meanwhile, the Panthers, they played hard against the Packers, but just fell short. Although, I probably had to look at the replay again. That was really, really close from their running back to almost get this touchdown to almost get within 2 points to tie. That's how close it was. The Panthers, although they're struggling, and of course it's very difficult for them to probably get into the playoffs because they're so far back from the Seahawks and Vikings, but they're still in it, so you can't underestimate them yet. And I'm going to pick the Panthers for this one, but I guess after the Falcons destroyed the Saints on the road, I guess I wouldn't be too surprised if the Falcons somehow did it again. And then we get to a huge AFC matchup that, honestly, this should have been Sunday night, not Bears at Rams. As it's the Texans at the Ravens for the first time since 2017. As the Texans fucking off their bye after they beat the Jaguars in a blowout in London. And the Ravens, now they've won 4 in a row and they're dominant right now. No, 5 in a row actually. They are looking like the definite Super Bowl contender now in the AFC. Holy shit. As this is a huge game, as whoever wins this will have the number 2 seed in the playoffs right now. So this is really huge for them. Now, of course, the Ravens should not underestimate the Texans. They almost lost to them in 2017, and that's without Watson, without J.J. Watt, without Merciless. So yeah, do not underestimate the Texans, Ravens. This is definitely going to be incredible. Can't wait to see that. I'm still going to pick the Ravens for this, but I will not be surprised if the Texans pull off an incredible win here. And then we get to our 4 p.m. game, starting off with the Cardinals at the 49ers, as the Cardinals have now lost 3 in a row after that 3-1 start, and they had it against the Buccaneers, but they choked it. Yikes, that's unfortunate for them. As the 49ers finally suffered their first loss of the season against the Seahawks on Monday night. Oh, that was a close game. They played hard, but just couldn't keep that undefeated streak going. As they're 1 win away from getting their first win in season since 2013, as they still need to keep up with the Seahawks. Thankfully, they're on their bye because they can't lose here. If they do, the Seahawks will take the lead in the NFC West, so they gotta keep winning to keep ahead of the Seahawks. I'm picking the 49ers for this, but don't be surprised if the Cardinals pull off an upset. Who knows? Maybe that loss could maybe start deflating the 49ers. Maybe it'll start collapsing, and of course, will that 8-0 start be enough for them to get into the playoffs? Will be interesting to see. And then, it's finally happening, our Super Bowl 52 rematch, as the Patriots are at the Eagles for the first time since 2011, as the Patriots are off their bye as they got destroyed by the Ravens on Sunday night 2 weeks ago. That was a dominant performance that they got destroyed by. Holy shit. Now they actually had a real team they had to play against instead of no teams pretty much whatsoever throughout the year. Now we'll see how they play against a little bit more of a better team than they usually play, as they got to play the Eagles, who I think beat the Bears last time out, if I remember correctly. This will be interesting to see. Will the Patriots show up, get another winning season, and get revenge on the Eagles, or will the Eagles show up too, maybe show the Patriots are not what we think they are, and they're maybe overrated, especially at defense, and actually show that, indeed, no, that Super Bowl win was not a fluke. This is going to be incredible to see, but I'm still not fully sold on the Eagles, although I'm sure they're going to give the Patriots a lot of trouble. I'm going to pick the Patriots for this. And then it's the Bengals at the Raiders for the first time since 2015, as the Bengals trying to avoid 0-10 for the first time since 1993, as they're now the only winless team remaining, and they're the only team right now with a losing record for the 4th year in a row, as they're getting close. They're getting close to being eliminated. It might actually happen next week, depending on what happens this week, so we got to keep an eye out on that. Meanwhile, as they got destroyed by the Ravens last Sunday, meanwhile, the Raiders beat the Chargers on Thursday night. Although they're still not fully a good team, hey, they've beaten their win total from last year, and they're still right there in the mix in the playoffs. You cannot underestimate the Raiders, and if they win here, they tie the Chiefs right at the moment for the AFC West. So, yeah, don't underestimate the Raiders. And I'm going to pick the Raiders for this one, but of course, watch. They'll probably choke and let the Bengals get their first win. And then we get to Sunday night, which we thought at the beginning of the year was going to be a huge NFC matchup, but of course, it's not, and they should have put Texans and Ravens in instead, as it's the Bears at the Rams for the first time since 2015, as the Bears are in LA for the first time since 1993. And speaking of which, the Bears, of course, beat the Lions last week, and Mitchell Trubisky actually had a good game for once, but now, of course, will it maintain? Because I'm surprised he's still being a star right now because how bad he's been playing. Meanwhile, the Rams suffered their first loss after their 2-game winning streak ended against Steelers, as, oh my god, Jared Goff has absolutely regressed mightily this year. He's looking like almost getting like near as bad as he was his rookie year, as they are definitely suffering that Super Bowl hangover now. As both teams' offenses are absolute garbage in this game. Absolute garbage. It's going to be defensive as hell. And of course, the Bears was like still one of the best defenses in the league. You probably picked them, but of course, It's going to come down to who is going to make the least mistakes, Goff or Trubisky. And as bad as Goff has been, he has not been as bad as Trubisky. Like, Trubisky has been, like, one of the worst quarterbacks so far this year. It's, like, not even close. So I'm actually going to pick the Rams for this, but I will not be surprised if the Bears defense shows up and shuts down the Rams offense. And then we get to Monday night in Mexico City, since we couldn't get it last year, as it's the Chiefs at the Chargers. As it's big important game for both of them, as the Chiefs need this win to keep up against the Raiders possibly coming up from behind them, and the Chargers need this win to catch up with the Raiders and be within a game of the Chiefs too, as this is the first time they're playing each other this year. As the Chiefs suffered a loss against the Titans, like I called it, because the Titans regularly beat the shit out of the Chiefs and all. And of course, I wasn't sure how Mahomes was going to do from those 2 weeks away from his injury, although he still played good. Just couldn't keep up. And of course, the Chargers. Oh God, Phillip Rivers was absolutely terrible against the Raiders, and he single-handedly blew the game when they had a chance to win that. This is a very important game, especially for Chiefs too, because they need to catch up with the Patriots, Texans, and Ravens badly in this if they want to have any shot to maybe even get first round bye. Because right now they're stuck as the 4th seed, and that's not going to have any good chance for them to get into win the Super Bowl this year. I'm picking the Chiefs for this one, but I won't be surprised here if they choke it and let the Chargers get the win. So those are my picks for Week 11. I cannot wait for Steelers at Browns tonight. And of course, starting next week, we might start getting some playoff elimination scenarios we're going to be talking about soon. Oh boy, I can't wait to talk about that.